To start my desert landscape, the very first thing I'm going to do is pick a sky color. So I'm going to come over here to our rainbow, and I'm going to pick a color for the sky. So I'm going to use one of the colors of blue here, and I'm going to pick a very light blue. So this color underneath the rainbow is always what ends up coming out when I'm drawing. So if that color is a little bit too light or too dark, then you have to move this little circle around to find the light color that you want. So when I find a color I really like for the sky, so I'm going to keep mine almost white, really, really light blue, then I'm going to change my tool from a paintbrush over to this little fill tool. So I'm going to click on that and then press over here, and the whole screen should turn blue. Then I'm going to go to layers so that I can start my landscape. So in layers, I'm going to press the plus sign, and now I'm going to work on layer 2. So then I'll go back over here, choose my paintbrush, go back to brushes, which is right next to layers. And now I'm going to pick the color for my little background. So I did orange earlier. I think now I might do yellow. And I'm going to start with a really light yellow, because remember, the farther away it is, the more faded my sky is. So I'm going to do a really light yellow color. I'm going to make my tool a lot larger, like this. And I'm going to start by making a little hill. So I'm going to make my hill like this. Maybe it goes down and up. And then I'm going to color the whole thing in with this yellow on the bottom so that I only have a blue sky. And then I want to make small little details. So since I'm doing a desert, I'm going to make these little tiny cacti up here. But my brush is way too big. So I'm going to change the size down to a really small, about 7. 7 looks good to me, but it doesn't need to be exact. And I'm going to make these tiny little cacti that stand on the hill like this. I like that one, and I'll make a couple in the background here. I don't need too many. I'm just going to do a couple to make them look like they're far away. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so then once I'm done with this layer, these cacti look like they're really far away, then I'm going to work on my next layer. So I'm going to change over to my layers and do the next ground line in a new layer, so layer 3. Then I'm going to go back to my brush, and this time, because this ground line is a little bit closer, I'm going to make my color a little bit darker. So this new color should be darker than the one I used here. And just like last time, I'm going to make my brush really big again. So I think I might even make it all the way up to 200. And then I'm going to make a new ground line using this. Ooh. And then color the whole bottom in with my new ground line color, just like that. And then just like last time, I'm going to change my brush size smaller so I can put some cacti on my new ground line using exactly the same color. But the difference is I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than these cacti right here because it's closer. So last time I used 7 to make these ones. This time I think I'll use 15. And now I'm going to put some cacti that are on this ground line right here, and because they're bigger, it makes it look like they are a little bit closer. So I could even have some that sort of overlap with the other ground line too. So I'm adding a couple of those. And this is where we sort of left off. So when you finish with this step, then we're just going to save it so that we're able to use it again for next week. So once I have these 2 hills here, I'm going to come over here to this blue little arrow that points down to a line that actually says Save Image, and click. Once I click, then it should show up down here at the bottom, and if I click on that, it'll open it up so that I can see the picture that I've created. although sometimes it takes a little while. Open. There it is. So now I can see the picture that I've created with you. And that will be ready then for next week.